live with my friend Peter, my friend Peter Lasowski. What a way to start this,
Yeah, that
right?
was a good one there, Sam.
Let's say, you know what? We can't cut it out either. This is
That's
live
right,
on
man. It's
YouTube.
live. We're going
Yeah,
live.
we're just going on. People are definitely going to have an appreciation for that. So,
Yeah.
first of all, welcome. I'm not sure if Adam's going to join us or not, but he's our co-host here. It looks like he's texting me, but we tried to do this last week, right?
Yeah. Well, tried is the word.
Yeah. So Peter's I'll tell you a little bit about himself, but one thing I learned from Peter really quickly is he's a radio personality as well. So he made sure that to tell me that my mic wasn't working properly. So
Yeah.
I got completely thrown off. And by the time it hit, I think we were going to start at like 4 o'clock. We were like 4:45. I was still trying to figure out my mic. Therefore, we did not go live last week. Hence, we're here.
But you know,
This
the good news, Sam, is there were actually some people that approached me after what we were supposed to have the show and said, "Hey, man, I was really excited to hear you guys on the show, but I couldn't hear it." I said, "Well, yeah, it was kind of messed up." So
Yeah,
here we are
just kidding. We're going live, but no, we're not going live. But I know for a fact that we are live right now, being streamed on LinkedIn and some other social media pages. But Peter, welcome. Tell a little bit about about yourself, about what it is you're doing, why you would want to come on Drink Up for heaven's sakes, and
today. Well,
and
I'm a big whiskey fan, so rye whiskey is my favorite. So
wow, well, maybe there's going to be some in your future.
that's right, man. You and I'll have to have a drink sometime together. Yeah, just a little about myself. I have in my about section on LinkedIn from sawdust to circuits. I tell people I'm probably the most blue collar guy in a white collar body you'll ever meet. I grew up building houses, learned the trades with my dad. Then I went to get an engineering degree just because I'm a curious guy. I like to create stuff. And then worked in a machine shop for 3 years. So I know how to TIG, oxyacetylene weld, metal fabrication, all that kind of stuff. In my early years, what was interesting is one of my college projects, I built a heat pump system that would pull heat out of big water bodies, like oceans and things like that. And the terminology in heat pumps is coefficient of performance. Well, mine was much higher than Trane, so they approached me to buy my book of design, which they did.
Interesting.
Yeah. So,
But we're
but
not here to
it's
talk about heat pumps, are we?
no, we're not. But the thing is, it kind of lends to. I'm always fascinated by, you know, what's going on in the world and how can you create something different and something that really works with the way people are. I talk about. I'm a big fan of mega shifts, whether they're tech. Now we're in another mega shift in tech with AI. But there's also socioeconomic mega shifts that happened, customer behavior. And if you think back, Sam, you and I are old enough. We can remember a time before the internet, right? When we were kids and we had the phones on the wall. If you want privacy, you had to go around the corner. And now look where we are today. Everybody's staring at these, phone screens, and we're mobile. And
I'm probably going to age myself above you, but when I was an adult in college, we just had a pickup phone you had to dial.
oh, really, like
You
a
get up,
rotary.
when you get up in the morning, you go to class.
Yeah,
No one's going to find you until you got home and you could
yeah.
maybe get some messages on your phone or someone called. So I don't know how I survived in life.
Yeah. Well, and
After
I'm sure your parents were, it's one of those things where, how did parents, because they never knew where the heck we were. So it's like, well, hey.
I would talk to my parents maybe like 3 or 4 times a year when I was in college. When I needed money,
Yeah. Yeah.
in the winter I was going home for the holidays,
Yeah.
or number three, I was in trouble. So that's when I would talk to my. Those
Exactly,
are the
man.
3 times I talked to my folks. Well, listen, I wanted to. So we're here to talk about well, probably a few things. One is this business called Relatable,
Yeah.
right? And I went deep in the last couple of weeks. I remember, full transparency, I tried to get on Relatable several months ago. I got frustrated. I cashed in. I couldn't do it. And then Peter, you finally got to me, or we got to each other, and you coached me through it. And I wanted to show like the video I created to kind of set up. Does that work to show? Or you
Yeah.
want to
Go ahead. Show away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and maybe
Show 'em
talk
what you
through it.
what
So
you built so far.
all right. So kind of what I
This
built
is
here.
this is Sam's Etch a Sketch. in 2025.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna share the screen here, and it says the entire screen. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna make the audio available. I was practicing, everybody. All right, and then I'm gonna go over here and choose these are interactives that you can choose, and you can see I went real deep. My wife's like, "What did you do for Memorial Day?" I said, "I played with Relatable on Memorial Day for 3 days." But I did this clip here, and then again, you don't
Yeah,
know
do the copy link up at the top. Yeah,
copy link
yeah, there
here,
it is there. Yep.
and I go into this screen. I create it here.
Yeah. Yep.
So now we're going to play the relatable video. So this is interactive video, folks. So this is not AI. This is actually me talking to you, and you can interact back with me as an example.
Just tap, yeah, start over. That'd be good.
As I walk and talk this morning, I had a deep thought. Are you a pod? I mean, seriously, a person in Mozambique pretending to be Shirley from HR, or my friend Frank that I'm actually thinking I'm talking to, but it was actually Roseanne in Taiwan. Or are you actually you? Look, I get AI, I use it, I believe in it, and it's not going anywhere. But when I show up here, I show up as me. This is me, the human version. There's no AI here. It's just me. And yeah, I've experimented with my AI twin, and I've been called out by my wife on it. Look, I know this isn't polished, prescriptive, circle back that, robot version this. Yeah, man, I still believe in LinkedIn.
All right. So what happens here, Peter? So I had a choice. I wanted to see if people wanted to opt in. This
Yeah.
is how you can capture some information from the people that are corresponding with you. And you explain you don't have to do this.
You don't have to, no. You just happen to leave it on, so it popped up on the screen to ask for an opt-in. Yeah.
But so basically, if I'm choosing this, I put my name, my email. You choose continue.
LinkedIn.
And
I
then,
still believe it should be about people, not perfectly optimized engagement. Question for you. Can you tell who's real anymore? Let me know.
so what happens now, Peter? So you can ask questions of your audience, right? So
Yeah, you can ask questions. And you know what's interesting is with these questions, what's neat about Relatable is based on their answer, you can continue the video like you did, Sam, or you can take them anywhere you want. You can send them to call you, text you, WhatsApp you, send them to another video, send them to another spot in the video. It's totally customizable to the kind of experience that you're trying to help them have. But the key thing is they get to choose the experience that they want to have.
Yeah, and so like this case, I'm just going to say no. I can't tell who's actually
Yeah.
real anymore, which is kind of true.
As George Carlin once said, the reason I talk to myself is because I'm the only one who answers I accept. That is different now, doesn't it?
And I have another question. What do you think about using others to respond as you? So one of the things we see on LinkedIn, there's people that they're responding, but it's actually Shirley in Taiwan or Frank in the video. And if that's what you want to do to be on LinkedIn to build your business, that's up to you. But I was just having some fun with it. I show up myself, so I'm just going to say I just feel good just to keep this going. But as these questions
If you're
are
a
coming
real person,
in,
actually you reading this, connect with me. Let's talk. Like for real. Just pick up the phone and call. I'll answer, and if I don't, text me.
so in this case, I want someone to actually call me. So my whole shtick on LinkedIn is just pick up the phone and call.
Yeah.
So
Which
they
you
can
could have
actually-
done. You have an email here, but you could have had a button to say tap here to call, and it would have gone right to their phone, and they would have called your number.
Yeah. So I was kind of scared to do that. I put myself out there, but then you just tap this and it takes for a minute to pop up, and then basically it just emails my email right here from where you're at, which is brilliant. So, which is fun.
Yeah. So that's and you you know the thing that's cool about this is you're now I don't know how many relatables have you done so far, 8 or 10 or
Um, Probably 10 relatables.
Yeah.
That
So
I've
as you're
got.
going, it's like you first started and you did something simple. Now you're getting more advanced. The cool thing about Relatable, Sam, which I'm seeing you do and I see a lot of others do, is as you get to use the tool more, you start getting more and more ideas of like how you could use it to create these engaging, interactive experiences with people, right?
Yeah,
And that's what's fun about Relatable.
there you go. I was trying to
Yeah.
figure out how to stop sharing, but I thought by just, I think I've created like 10 of them, Peter,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and
No,
I
you're
think
coming along doing good. It's relatables are fun. The thing about it, the other thing to notice, guys, for everybody that was watching is Relatable was really built for the phone. So Sam has it on his desktop, and you saw there was black on either side. And you can build on a tablet, on a desktop, on a laptop, but it's really built for the phone because most people around the world are on their phones. And the other thing too is, and Sam has already done this, we wanted to make relatable so you could build anytime, anywhere. All you need is your face, phone, and finger. So it doesn't matter if you're in a hotel room, a taxi, an airport, at your house. Whenever something strikes, you can pop one of these things out.
yeah, it's really amazing. I was thinking in our business, in the drinks business, there's a lot of different applications. If you want to really just talk, like you literally could put your brand out there. You could actually do a live, you could do a relatable whiskey tasting.
Yeah, you could, and the cool thing is we just and Sam is starting to play around with this. We just got the ability. I call them video impact experiences. So the way I explain it to people is like, how when you watch a sad movie you tear up, it's because of the neuroscience aspect, the mirror neurons in your brain. You are going into that experience. So what we did in Relatable is we give you the ability to change cameras from front to back. So you can, like with Sam's walk and talk, he could talk, but he could also show. And what's happening, all the viewers in their brains, it's like they're walking beside you. It's no different. I just say you can do something like the movies. You don't need a post video editor, but what's cool is it's in real life, in real time. And this is where it's getting very powerful because you want to create these connections, these experiences. And so you can do this social, passive videos. You can do interactives like, what Sam is doing. You can take a socially passive and go, you know what, I really like that thing I produced. So I'm just going to say, hey, if this resonated with you and you'd like to speak to me and you want to set up a time for a meeting, there's going to be an upcoming button. Just go ahead and tap on it. And a lot of our customers do that. You can knock out these simple buttons. They can be custom. They don't have to be just a standard. We create custom buttons in Canva with our faces on it. Sam's starting to work on that and do that because again, it just makes it more human.
And Peter's upset at me because I showed the junior of what relatable really is. Well, I got ahead of myself a little bit. So why, so Peter, so maybe tell a little bit, so you grew up and working with your
Yeah.
hands, your dad building things. I think this weekend or going into the weekend you were getting ready to chuck a tree or something.
Yeah, I was
Why
bucking the
did
tree
you
up.
build why did you build relatable? Why
Yeah.
is this really important at the end of the day?
Well, yeah, and here, I mean, the big why is this. You guys all have noticed. So let me talk about these socioeconomic megatrends, right? So, being a curious engineer, I'm sitting here going, okay, wait a second, what's going on here? Sales funnels aren't working like they used to. Email's kind of failing. No one's paying attention to that stuff anymore. And it's like, why? What is happening? What caused the shift in that, Sam? So I went out and I did some research. This was kind of the origin story of Relatable. And a couple years ago, the first group I ran into, I was telling you about them, the native digitals. They're typically 35 and younger. It's not an ageism thing, but it's really about their primary reality is in the digital space. Their secondary, they're tourists in the physical space, whereas Sam and I and a lot of you that are over 35 who grew up before the internet, our primary reality is the physical, right?
I called a couple 35-year-olds that are like, "Why are you calling me? What do you mean?"
Yeah, exactly. The phone call
can
thing
text
is
me
they're
or
like,
make an appointment. I don't answer the
yeah,
phone.
who does phone calls anymore, right? That's like the fax machine.
Yeah.
But here's what's cool is the native digitals are 51% of the global population, Sam, and they're growing. The reason why I bring them up is here's what happened. If you go back 5 to 7 to 8 years, those native digitals were sitting in Twitch and Discord and creating communities.
Yeah.
And now look at the future now. Communities are popping up like weeds all over the place, right?
Yeah.
It was driven by these native digitals. They're all about interaction and community, okay? They're still doing it on Discord, but now a lot of the other population, the other segments, like the Gen Xers and baby boomers are getting in on the act, okay? So that was one big shift. And then, but it didn't really answer the question of like, what's going on online when people are interested in products or services, Sam? So what I found is I found 6. I'm just going to go through them really fast for the sake of time on the show here, but there's 6 of these. 5 of them have happened. There's one that we're going through right now. So the first one is, and you guys, when I bring these up, you're all going to go, yep, that's true. Because they've happened. And what's happened is all these people who are doing sales funnels and email marketing, their customers went that way. So this is why this stuff's not working
I
anymore.
got the top of the funnel, the
Yeah,
middle
the top,
of the funnel,
tofu,
the bottom of the
tofu,
funnel. I was
all
actually
this
talking
crap
about
that
funnels
people are
today,
doing.
so-
Yeah, it doesn't work. So what the first one is, you know, when anybody wants to go look for a product or service, what's the first thing they do? They go online and do research. No one
Google
goes-
it. You're like, who is Peter Lasowski?
Yeah, they want to find out who you are, what you're all about, why you innovated or created the product or service you did. I mean, they check you out, Sam. Everybody checks out everybody. So, you know, no one ever says, hey, I think I'll pick up the phone and call a salesperson and talk about this.
Yeah.
You know, we just don't do that. Gartner did a study last year, Sam. 75% of all B2B never want to talk to salespeople, even on enterprise sales. So this is where we are. So the second one is everybody's watching or listening. Video, audio, right? Podcasts exist because we can't drive a car.
If you're not showing up here using Relatable or some type of interface, you're not going to be found.
You won't. No. And the thing is, you can't go out there. I mean, even blog posts are dying a slow death because, you know, the native digitals invented an acronym, TLDR, too long didn't read. I mean, that's kind of where we are. People are watching.
When's the last time you read an entire blog post?
I don't remember. It's been that long.
What's the average that a person is going to, like, where they're like swipe right, swipe left? What's the average they stay on the screen?
Probably less than a few seconds, because even if you look at a lot of videos, people aren't staying for a full video. If you look at your statistics on LinkedIn for passive videos, right?
Yeah.
They may stay, if it's really good, maybe 13, 15 seconds, and then they're gone. I mean, I post some Instagram videos, and I get a lot of impressions, but you don't get people watching them all the way through. And these are 30 to 60-second videos, okay? So that's the second one. Third is people are looking for a relationship, not a transaction. And I talk about this a lot. Anybody out there, if your first thought is to sell, you are creating a transaction. It's a lead gen. That person is not loyal. You're a commodity.
It's so funny you said that because I've tested this. I've DM'd people like, hey, I represent a brand called Force of Nature. It's a cleaning, sustainable company. I see you're in the business. I'd love to schedule time. 0, 0, 0.
Yeah.
Change the conversation. Hey, I'm Sam Anderson. Looks like we're in similar industries. I'd love this just to book time and say hello.
Yeah.
Bing, 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 bing. People are like interested to talk to you. We still inevitably get to Force of Nature at some point in the conversation. Maybe it's 2 conversations down the line, but that's where I think Relatable could come in. You could actually do that work with Relatable. You told me about a lady that's out there and she's landed some big enterprise customers. Guess how she does that, right?
Yeah, and I mean, last I checked with her, she was getting 70% to set many response using Relatable interactives. She has one that's evergreen. She uses it to cold DM. She connects with them. These are C-level, C-suite people in corporations. And then she sends it and she gets a pretty high response.
So this is the third part. Like, you got to relate to people, right?
This is where you got to relate. Well, here's the thing. This is the fourth and fifth. Fourth and fifth is people want to choose their own experience. One size fits all marketing doesn't cut it anymore. And they want it personal and relevant to them. Okay.
Interesting.
So these are things that have happened. This last one that has happened too is, remember back in the day, we used to do like referrals and networking like through BNI, and we'd pass the papers, all that stuff. And I'm sure, some people still do that, and to some degree it works. But if you look at it now, a lot of people may not have heard of this term. It's called dark social. It's not dark web stuff. Dark social is, there's a lot of research now, Sam, that shows up to 80% of all product and service recommendations are done through private messaging. Text, email, WhatsApp. Discord, any places where
My
people
buddy,
hang out.
Greg Needham does. He has like a catalog of influencers.
Yep.
And I think they're probably using dark social to drive.
They are. Well, most of us are when we're doing. So I wanted to solve that too, which is like, well, how do people are doing it digitally. We
Right.
call it viral share. I haven't showed that to you yet, but it's built into Relatable, where people go, hey, if you like what you see and this resonates, you probably have some friends or colleagues that probably might be interested in this particular video too. So just go ahead and tap on this button. They can text it, email it, WhatsApp it for international customers.
I
If
should
it's
have done
text,
that.
it goes right on their phone.
That should have gone viral, in my opinion. But I put
Well,
it on
yeah,
the
and,
button
but
that
see,
scared
that's the
everybody
thing.
off.
Think about it, right? Sam, you and I know each other, right? So
Yeah.
if I send you something through text with a link, and I say, hey, Sam, check this out, you're gonna check it out. But if you didn't know me and I sent something to you, what's the first thing you're gonna do? I don't trust that. This is spam, right?
Yeah.
So this is why this is so powerful, right? Now the last one, real quick, the sixth one, which we're going through now. The sixth one is I call monologue marketing versus dialogue marketing. Monologue marketing is talk at you. This is email. This is passive video. And even though it's getting juiced on TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube these days, passive video eventually is going to die out because people want to have interaction. They want to have a dialogue. They
So
want
what's
to
that
feel
called? What was the
seen and
sixth one
heard.
called again?
This is called monologue marketing versus dialogue marketing.
Monologue marketing. Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
And dialogue marketing is exactly what Relatable is. What you're building, you're asking for interaction. You're letting them choose. You're going to go further where, based on how they answer, they can choose whichever adventure they want to have, right? As you progress down with this tool. So if you look at these 6 that I just said, that's why I created Relatable. That was the origin story. It was like, we have to match these shifts that have happened in customer online behavior. And we have to do things smart. One of the things we're adding to Relatable is a whole founder brand AI prompted story engine. So that it's not just like, hey, I can do these fancy videos with images and stuff flying around the screen. I want to tell my origin story through videos, but I don't know how to do that. So we're going to help them with prompting.
Yeah, this guy I follow, I feel like I know him, and if Eddie somehow are watching this for some reason, Eddie Romero, he's a brand founder. He's founded tequilas and stuff like that, but he always tells a story, and he'll go into a store and he'll have himself setting up a tasting, and then he'll show himself interacting with the consumer. It'd be really interesting for him to take that a step further with Relatable.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and the cool thing, Sam, is, and this is why I say all the time, not only is it anytime, anywhere, but you can have a Relatable chat with over 100,000 people at a time. But the power of it, Sam, is they feel like that you're talking to them one-to-one, right?
Yeah.
That's what this is about.
Well,
that's
the way you are, though, right? Because if they
You
answer
are,
the question, I'm going to be able to see if you opt in. You got to opt in. If I guess there's some new technology. I can see in an aggregate what people were saying. But
You
if you opt
can.
in,
That's
I can
something
actually
we're
have a
adding.
conversation with you. I'm like, hey, Shirley, I saw your questions you answered. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
No,
there is actually in Relatable. You're working towards that discovery.
Yeah.
But if they do opt in, you can see their answers. But you can tap if you want to text them, WhatsApp them, or email them right inside Relatable. So you go, hey, Shirley, I noticed you had this answer. I'd love to chat with you about this. If you'd like to do that too, let's set up a time.
Yeah, I noticed we'll keep on focus, but I just one question. It's kind of off topic, but on topic about people sharing things. I tried to share it to Instagram. I went to Facebook, but Instagram doesn't allow me to share it. You have to have a business account or something, or?
No, it should share okay. Instagram has some different policies on how they, as far as what they accept. Like raw video, they'll accept, but like Relatables, it has to be a link. It can't be the direct, like in LinkedIn, where you can implant the Relatable inside LinkedIn.
So I have to do a link inside my comments then?
Yeah, then you just copy the link, and for Instagram, you just tap on that and paste the link, and then they tap on the link and you're Relatable.
So you have to copy and then paste it into another window in that case on
Yeah,
Instagram at
yeah.
this point. I think they're
And that's
missing
based
the
on
money.
Instagram's limitations, not ours.
Because in X it actually put in here, you can click on the link in X and it goes right to Relatable.
Yeah, yep.
No, but
It just
so-
depends on the social site and what their policy structures are, that kind
which is really interesting. So we're at this thing called Relatable. So what's your this? I mean, you didn't just create this overnight. Like, what's the journey been? Like, it was interesting because the last couple weeks you and I've been talking. Like, it's like almost like I'm part of the dev team now, which I'm excited.
Yeah.
Like, at least you're making me feel that way. Hey, man, I just took it back to the dev team, and this is what we're doing to fix that. Tell me a little bit about the journey. Like, this didn't happen overnight in terms of
No, it didn't.
where it began and where you're at.
Yeah. Well, this is my fourth startup, and the thing about it is there is nothing. I mean, even if you go back to Microsoft days when Bill Gates ran
Yeah.
the roost, when they implemented, they launched the Microsoft Office. You can remember back in the day how many bugs they had in Excel and Microsoft Word, and they were fixing stuff like crazy. Now it's a robust tool. But yeah, this has been about 2.5 years in the making. If you look at Sam Altman and OpenAI, they've been around 7 to 10 years. They just didn't pop on the scene and go, oh, we got 1 million users, right? Every single thing that's an impact in a movement, there's a lot of stuff that goes on under the scenes, and so we were developing this for quite a while, but we're constantly looking at how can we add and update to the platform to continue to provide things that foster a human-to-human connection, right? And
Yeah,
so
well, we definitely. That's why I did that RUU because, look, I mean, I use AI. I'm a believer in AI. I have ChatGPT. I'm not questioning that. But if you're not showing up and like you as you, or at least like read the AI that created for you that's communicating to Peter, because I've done that. I'm like, okay, help me with an answer, but read it to make sure it's like you.
yeah.
I mean, so that's what I love about Relatable because you can't escape it. It's like it's you.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it is you, but you can still we have and I'm sure you're gonna use it if you have. We have a teleprompter in there, so if you guys want, you can use ChatGPT, write a script, and paste it in there.
Yeah.
And you can still do it, but you the human, not your AI twin, is interacting inside real.
Well, that you are you. I
Yeah.
used the teleprompter. So I created that from ChatGPT. I said, hey, make a funny skit about
Yeah.
being AI. So I was, basically, communicating with it. Tell me something, right? What do you call that? I'm a something engineer, but what do you call
a
that?
prompt engineer.
I'm a prompt. Yeah, so I'm a prompt engineer now. We're all becoming prompt engineers. But I was using it as a tool to do that. But I mean, I was making adjustments. But it was me, communicating. But you definitely use the tools out there. So 2.5 years. So where's Relatable on your journey? Where do you are you guys like? Are you taking off like wildfire? People are coming in. You can't keep up. You're hiring big teams. Like what's happening?
Well, it's interesting, and I know a lot.
I'm okay. It's okay to ask that question. Hopefully.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I'm an open book. Because if people follow me on LinkedIn, I talk about a lot of stuff, and I talk about some of the stuff where we're working on, some of the future. I was just talking about Google Beam and the announcement of I/O over in OpenAI.
Yeah, I wanted to get into that though. By the way,
Hologramics. We'll talk about that in a sec. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, I have taken. So if you guys go look at my tag, I say AI is everywhere, but it's missing one thing: being human. Right. This was the driver. This is the impact. And what I was going to talk about too, Sam, with these 6 behavioral shifts that have happened. We have moved from the attention economy and lead generation over to the relationship economy and demand generation, which means your customers are going to go do a bunch of research and invite you to the buying table when they're ready. The whole idea of you getting a lead and then bringing them in and persuading them to buy, people are going, don't want that anymore.
Yeah.
So, what I've done is I said, okay, we're going to develop this. It's going to take a while. We are growing our customer base, but if you look at a lot of SaaS, they'll go along like this and then they'll go and take off. We haven't hit that spot yet, but we will. But I will say this, Sam, we are in a world now, especially with AI, I'd say probably north of 60% of our code is written by AI. Most of our testing is done with AI. And the reason why, I'm not saying that to brag, the reason why I bring that up is, whereas I used to have an army of software engineers, I don't anymore. Because we utilize AI as tools. And this is where people, the funny thing about it is, it seems like there's a couple camps here. And I see it in my comments too, Sam. there's the people that they're embracing AI and they're going, yes, we can use it as a tool. And then there's the people over here going, I will never use AI. It's going to replace humans. Everyone's going to lose their jobs. It's like,
Yeah.
no, that's not going to happen. And not in the world I live in. Even, I don't know if you saw it the other day, but about 2 or 3 weeks ago, Bill Gates came out and said, what are the 3 most valuable careers to have that are going to stay after AI? And he said software engineers and coders is the 3rd one. And it's kind of true. If you look at kind of where things are at, you still have to have tech people to put everything together in the full stack and the glue. So, we're constantly innovating. We're constantly looking at the market. If you've noticed, Sam, I interact with you as the founder personally. I do it with a lot of my customers. There's going to come a time where I can't do it with everybody. But I say, you know what? I don't know if you guys ever seen on YouTube, look it up. It's called Dancing Guy. So Sam is one of our dancing guys, which means there's this guy dancing out in this lawn, and he's by himself and he's doing this crazy dance. Then all of a sudden this other guy shows up and he starts dancing with him, and in about 2 minutes there's like 400 people dancing. This is what happens in a movement. Our movement is the relationship economy with Relatable and the human to human.
Yeah.
But you have to work with your dancing guys directly. You got to help them. And because you see the vision, right? You're an early adopter. You're going, I get it. I'm going to start using this, right? So that's why I'm there, is to help you along. But you're also providing me valuable feedback on, hey, I did this, I got confused here. Or I did this, that didn't work, right? You said you're part of the dev team. Well, kind of in a way you are.
I'm an evangelist here, and
Yeah.
I'm creating apostles, and there's going to
Yeah.
be many of them as we bring the scripture to them, and that they can say, hey, are you going to adopt this or not? I fully believe in it. I mean, I went deep purposely to learn it. I believe brands that we deal with a lot of founders, and they can tell their story. And we always tell founders is, like, people come to your brand because they want to know your story. Now, you don't replace the brand, but they want to know you. And they can actually use this tool here to actually tell their story, to relate with their distributors, their potential customers. Like, I'm going down to Walmart as an example in a couple weeks, so June the 16th, to meet with the NA buyer. Wouldn't it be wonderful if I had a couple of my suppliers to do some relatable videos that I could actually show the buyer? Say, hey, look, I actually brought my founders here on this. And the reason I have this idea is we used to have, like, famous people. We didn't get The Rock to come in and talk to the buyer, but we had like a video of The Rock or CD. But what about this? Is like, hey, The Rock is going to talk to you, or Sam, or whomever. The founder is going to talk to you, and you just interface with them or whatever. I think there's so many applications about where you can be there but not be there, and you can show them who you are and what about. Or you can be at, like, this kiosk at this, like, tasting. Say, hey, the buyer, the founder's right here. Hit this kiosk, and boom, and go through this video. But he's going to take you through a little tasting today, and actually say in front of you, so he can be there he can be in millions of places and still relate to his customers or her customers.
Yep. And the powerful thing about that too, Sam, is that engagement, that relate, is helping those particular customers feel engaged, feel seen, and feel heard. That is the beginnings of trust and accelerating. I call it relationship velocity.
Yeah. Well, I just came up with a business opportunity. So every tasting across North America, we are actually going to create relatable videos for every one of those brands that are at those tasting tables, so that those founders or those master distillers, or you can show the home place. Like, you can actually go to the Highlands in Scotland and you can experience it right here. And we can take you down different pathways. You want to go into the barrel house? Choose barrel house. There you are. And then the consumer can experience it right there on the full video. Right there. That's one reason I want to bring it on, because in our business, I actually believe this has a lot of application. From training, getting people familiar with the brand, being relatable, the whole bit. So I know I'm animated today, but
Well, no, that's true, and it's true for a lot of people. This is why I always say, it's like, this is why I love working with you, Sam, and our other customers, is that it's kind of this light bulb that goes off, and it's going, it's like, oh, I can do this and this and this and this. I mean, it's whatever. I tell people, whatever you can think of pretty much you can build in relatable.
Yeah, I just need
Create that.
time. I just need time. So this is expensive though. People can't afford this, Peter. I mean, this has to be thousands of dollars a month to be like to sign up for this software. Like if this is wait, no way people can afford this. I'm a startup brand.
Yeah. Well, no, the actual truth on it is $49 a month.
Wow. Only
That's where you
49
start.
bucks.
Yeah, and if you if you really get into it, you have so many builds with the 49 a month, and if you decide you want more, we have just like games do, like Call of Duty or some of the games, we have what's called token based, and you just buy tokens to add more builds.
Are
And you're
your
gonna go.
builds like for the month, like you run out of tokens for the month and it resets for the next month? Or
Yeah, it does. Well, the tokens are, let's say you buy, you have so many builds, you go, okay, I want to buy tokens for another 50 builds. You have 50 no matter what month it is. So you're just
Okay.
using them as you go. If you need more, you just buy more tokens.
So I've only had 10 builds and I'm out, I have to buy a token.
No, you have for the 49, I think it's up to 50 builds. And then
Okay.
after that, the tokens aren't expensive and they come in blocks. So it's like, I think the first one is you want to buy 25 more builds. I think it's like $10 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not super
But
expensive.
I can that video, once I make that video, and if I have one that's like the lady was talking about, like she does with the C-suite stuff, you get a really good video. You're like DMing people. Take your relatable video, put that in DM, say, hey, look, and you could do like you could
Yeah.
actually do a voiceover. Say, hey, look, I'm doing a voiceover, but I want you to watch my relatable video. This is a little bit about me on about why I'm reaching out, and let's see if we can have a conversation, right?
Yeah.
Or,
Yep.
or-
That's really what it's all about. The other thing too, Sam, and I was talking to you about this the other day. I have made some great partnerships and relationships by connecting with people on LinkedIn, and maybe I interact with their, comment on their stuff. You don't want to do fist bumps. You want to do something intelligent. But I send them a personal video. It'd be like this. Like if I was sending it to you, I'd go, hey, Sam, I've been hanging out. We connected on LinkedIn. I really appreciate what you're doing with Bev Assets. I love, the stuff you've noticed. I comment on your stuff. I can see the impact you're trying to make. We're trying to make an impact too at Relatable. Here's what Relatable is and does. If that resonates with you, and you'd like to chat with me a little further, there's going to be an upcoming bud. Just tap on it. You can set a meeting. I get 80% of the people, and these are big name people. These are people with 150,000, 800,000, 2 million, 3 million followers on LinkedIn.
Don't sell yourself short. He has the blue, like he's
Well,
the blue,
yeah,
has
but-
the blue tag.
But but the point I'm trying to make is, and here's what happens, Sam. Invariably, when they connect with me and I talk to them like on Zoom or we're having a chat, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, you know what? That video really was cool. It was personal. You sent it to me. It meant something.
Yeah, you took the time to
cut
build
through
it,
all the
send it to
noise.
me,
Yeah.
the whole bit. It's like which is brilliant. So, with the last few minutes, we obviously need to have you come back. So, by the way, you're always welcome to come here. Now you're an alumni.
Awesome.
That means
Cool.
that you can pop in anytime. Sometimes we get pop-ins here today. I guess people are like, maybe they're out this Thursday, so that they're probably at the bar having drinks right now. They don't want to be with us, which I totally understand, but we'll show this later on. I ask this question of every founder, and this is your fourth startup, which is incredible, by the way. So I'm new to this arena of entrepreneurship 2 years in, so I'm very junior. What's the difference between success and failure?
That's a great question. I look at failure as it isn't falling short in your goals. It's more about forgetting to matter to someone. Because I look at things always as, okay, you could go, oh, I'm making this kind of money, or I'm doing this out here. We've been there, done that. I've had exits. The thing is, how do you matter to people? So if you're not mattering to someone, to me, that you're failing, and that leads to regret. Success is about earning that emotional connection with someone, right? It can be your significant other, like your wife, where you have intimacy, or it could be people like you and me, where we have affinity with each other, right? We call each other, hey, brother. It's the ability to have those emotional connections with people, even in this world where tech is swirling all around us. Mm-hmm. It's important to have those human connections. And that's how I value success, is the connections I have with people.
Yeah, I mean, well, you're a very relatable person. I mean, even though we're talking about relatable, How are you making a difference in people's lives with this? I guess with this application, any success stories like you've really made an impact on someone's life, other than mine, it's definitely impacted it.
Well, thanks, man. Well, one of the sectors we work with is nonprofits. So anybody listening to this, love to talk to you. If you, and in fact, we have still a couple slots. I scholarship, people who are just starting out in nonprofits. If they have a great cause for 3 or 4 months, it's free of charge.
Oh wow.
But here's the thing, I'll tell you a story. So we're working with this nonprofit. They're down here in San Diego, and then they got an office up in Washington State. And his name is Tony Teravainen. You can look him up. Great guy. He's the founder of Team Step USA. They work with military families who, because they did not get financial education, they had their car repoed, they're about to be homeless, something's going on. So they step in and they, help with the initial crisis, but then they teach them how to budget, how to become financially educated. They're not the certified financial planners. That's way beyond that, but they're getting them back up on their feet. And when I met Tony, I said, Tony, look, we have to tell your story, just like all nonprofits. And, so he did a video impact where he was talking, he was showing, and I'll send that to you sometime.
Yeah.
But that one video impact, it blew up. People were contacting him for partnerships. They were contacting him for on LinkedIn and saying, how do I donate to your cause? Because, this matters. And, if you've been in the military or you're a veteran, I never was in the military, but I have huge respect for veterans and for people who are in active service now. So this is an example where he's just doing this and telling his story and being relatable to people and creating these video impact experiences. It's, it's like I said, he's hitting them at an emotional level and just speaking from his heart to their heart, but doing it through the relatable video.
I love that. So, what would you want to leave everybody with today? So everything we discussed about the 6 things, which
Yeah.
are really interesting, but if anybody's gonna leave this today, like why relatable? Why would you want to do this? What do you want to leave everybody with? What kind of knowledge?
Well, the first thing I'll say is, guys, if you decide you want to use Relatable, great. If you don't, that's okay too. I'm not here to pitch Relatable. That's not my first thought. My first thought is and I'll share it with anybody that wants to approach me on LinkedIn. I wrote, because I think the framework of how do you be relatable? How do you reconnect with your relatability? So I wrote a book. It's called Be Relatable, The Eye-Opening Habit for a New Category of Human. And I'm glad to share it. I don't charge for it. It's free of charge. I'd love for you to read it. The key thing is how we relate to people. I will tell you a story, guys, before we go. My father died at a young age, and I took care of him for the last 2 years of his life. And in those 2 years, I cannot count how many times we had to sleep down in the living room and he was in a chair because he couldn't go upstairs. And I had a hospital bed, but he liked to sleep in his old chair like Archie Bunker. You remember that show?
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, I'd be on the couch and like 2 or 3 in the morning, he'd go, "Hey, Pio, you awake?" I go, "Yeah, I'm awake now, Dad." So, but he would tell me all of these regrets and just, cry and all this stuff. And my message to everybody here is take the time to make those human connections, be with people, have those human connections, because if you don't, and all you're doing is constantly, running after the dollar, at some point in time, that's going to catch up with you and you will die with regret. And I think that's the worst thing that can ever happen to
Man,
you.
that's so powerful that you just shared that, and your story with your dad and him spending hours telling you about his regrets.
Yeah.
That's wow.
Yeah. It's a sad thing to see. And, my learning lesson as a younger man was, man, I'm never going to have that happen to me. I don't want
Yeah,
to.
it's just funny being an entrepreneur. I have to remind myself of this. My partner, Alicia Vargo, I'm going to call her out. Hello, Alicia, out there somewhere in the world. But we're working, 18-hour days. And my wife's making ribs, and we're trying to watch a movie last night. And I'm sitting there texting, or emailing. and the whole bit, and it just doesn't slow down. But what you just shared that story is probably one of the regrets I'm going to have is I didn't stop. I was so focused on building this business that I missed my moment with my wife and this movie over here that I got to remind myself of that. So that was really powerful because
Well, and you know the key thing about that too, Sam, is
yeah,
those moments when they're gone, they're gone. You can
yeah,
never get them back. You know, you think about it, if you have little kids. I decided to get out of the corporate world. I had all the trappings. I was a division manager, big money, bonuses, stock options,
yeah,
but I was always gone. I was always in an airplane.
yeah.
And, you know, it hit me one day. I go, you know what? I'm going to die in one of these planes and my kids will never know me.
Yeah,
So, you
I
know,
was
it's
that
one of
guy
these,
too.
yeah, yeah.
I was that guy too. I would spend, my weeks away from the family, miss birthdays, track meets. I mean, one of my biggest regrets is that I wasn't involved in my son's youth sports because I
Yeah.
think it cost him in a lot of ways, and I really regret not being that volunteer coach. But I was chasing the buck and being the national account guy, and the big titles, and I missed my moment. But the good news is that today's here and tomorrow's gone.
Exactly, and you can always adjust and
Yeah.
readjust your sails. The boat's still out there, just going a different course.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah. Well, so Peter, thank you so much for joining me today. I'll ask you to hang on with me because we got to download the video. We
okay,
will replay this, and I'll get you Peter's. Well, actually, we'll put this on when we actually post the video. But how do people get in contact with you?
the best way is just go up to LinkedIn, just look up my name, Peter Lasowski, and you'll find me. Connect with me there.
Okay.
If you want to find out more about Relatable, it's Be Relatable. BeRelatable.pro is our website. You don't have to go there; just connect with me if you want to, and we can talk.
Yeah, and I mean, you do more than just relatable too. You're like almost an authority figure in the brain and how things
Yeah,
work.
that's a whole other thing. We could talk about neuroscience and how the brain buys. We could talk about hologramic technology, new generative AI tools. There's all kinds of stuff.
So we have to. We ran
We're
out of
looking
time.
in
We
our
have to
mad
come back and-
scientist labs. Yeah.
Yeah, so like he was telling me the other day, just real quick, is that this hologram is going to pop up on your phone eventually, and then you're going to be able to communicate with these holograms. It's coming, folks.
Yeah.
It's coming, and Relatable is going to be a big part of that technology.
We're going to be the software that drives the hologramic interactive experience. Yes.
Holy cow! I get to go to his lake
FaceTime will
house.
take a whole new meaning.
Yeah, I get to go to Peter's lake house. Yeah, I have a free invitation anytime to
Yep,
go
you
there.
do.
But thank you so much, Peter. Stay on the line. Thanks everybody for joining us this Thursday. We'll see you this Saturday as well. So we've had a pretty busy week on podcast. Talk
Nice.
to you soon.